So I think we're going to go ahead and get started, everybody. Thanks for coming out on a school night. It's nice to see the size of the crowd, and we're glad so many people are interested. My name's Jeremy Puma. I'm the program coordinator for the Amazon Catalyst program here at the university at CoMotion, UW CoMotion. With me also I have Gretchen Musgrove. She's back on the camera. She's our head of communications and marketing for the Amazon Catalyst program at CoMotion. And Mark Ohlert, who's graced us with his presence from Amazon. He is the, to remind me again, the head of programs at the Department of Ideas. That's right. All right, I got it. Over at Amazon. We've had some exciting changes to the program since the last time we offered it. So thanks for coming out. And we are going to have a Q&A at the end. And there are still snacks in the back. If you can get through to them, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, I'm going to turn it over to Mark. So thanks very much.
Thanks. Yeah, so I'll just talk for about 2 hours and then we'll do the Q&A. Actually, no, it'll be much briefer than that. So yeah, Mark Ohlert, Head of Programs, Department of Ideas. I can really like that title too, because I didn't give it to myself. My boss did, and he's the Prime Minister of Ideas. So I didn't know if maybe I should be the Chancellor of the Exchequer or what I'm calling it. Our department at Amazon is built to generate ideas, both internal at Amazon and working with universities like UW. So that's why we're involved with this. A little bit of rundown about Amazon Catalyst. We launched in 2015 working with CoMotion, and I'm going to be looking over here because my slides aren't up on the screen. But the idea is, so how many people know about or have heard about Amazon leadership principles? Okay, so when I started at Amazon 2.5 years ago, people were like, oh, you should know the leadership principles before you interview. And I'm like, fine, I've been in interviews where you have mission, vision, whatever. And it turns out they actually run the company like that. They quote them in meetings. It's kind of not in a cultish way, but in a way that's just like a shorthand for understanding what's going on. One of the leadership principles is think big. And so this is a cool story I can tell now for the first time. Yesterday I was literally in a meeting with what we call our S team. That's Jeff Bezos and his SVPs. And we were talking about our Think Big competition internal at Amazon. And our rubric internal at Amazon used to be, a big idea was big if it could eventually generate $1 billion in sales or $100 million in internal savings. And yesterday what we heard literally was that that goalpost starts at 10 billion. So if your idea can't eventually, we're not talking year one, but eventually get to 10 billion, that's the size of the idea they're talking about when we're talking about sort of think big. So different scale here, but still same idea, that we're talking about really big ideas at really important junctures. That's what Catalyst does, right? Is gives that boost to an idea to get to the next level. So one of the things that I do love about Catalyst is that it's open to everybody at UW. Faculty, staff, students, anybody can submit an idea, anybody can win a grant. We have our first deadline of this school year is coming up on December 16th, and there'll be another one in the spring. Now, so let's get into what are you going to submit. So there are 8 different criteria that you get judged on. The most important ones are, does it demonstrate a need? Does it meet a need? At Amazon, we do a thing called working backwards. And this is kind of the heart of the process that you'll go through. It's different than what you've probably been involved in before. We write press releases. We write press releases from the future. So if I want to launch a product this year at Amazon, I'll write a press release that's dated 2 years in the future when the product is launching, right? So I want to start working on it now. Take me 2 years to get the launch. The press release is written 2 years out. And it's full of interesting things like customer quotes on why it's changed their life and how awesome it is, and quotes from people internal to Amazon. Now, I will say this. I've been a grad student a lot of my life. I'm a historian and an anthropologist, and so writing anything that I can't actually cite, I mean, seriously, I have trouble writing emails without footnotes. So the trick on the PR, the press release, is that you fake the quotes. They're not real. You don't actually have to go get them. but what you're after is the imagination and the thoroughness of thought in putting that together. So, what's important is not the name, Jeff Blake or whoever you quote. It's the position and what they would know about your product and what they would be concerned with. That's what the people are looking for, is that kind of thoroughness of knowledge. The project timeline can be up to 18 months. And the timeline goes along with the budget in the sense that you need to be, what they're after is accuracy, really. Not accuracy, but a really good guess. If you don't know, that's fine, but I wouldn't submit something that can probably be done in 3 months and tell them it's going to take 18. The people who sit on the voting committee are smart and have done a lot of this before and can read something and go, that feels off, right? So be as accurate as you can be when you're assessing how long it'll take to do that. Now the way this is going to work, this is new this round. Previous Catalyst rounds work differently, this is new. So there's going to be a phase 1, and people can submit for phase 1, and the maximum award in phase 1 is $25K, right? Now people who kind of successfully complete phase 1 go into the pool to be considered for phase 2. So it's not automatic, and there'll be an additional review after phase 1 to get an additional. Phase 2 has an additional potential $75K. So before, the whole pot was $100K at once. Now we've segmented it, and we've really done it to kind of be able to spread, I don't want to say spread the wealth, but get more people involved, because there are a lot of people out there who kind of saw the 100K and thought, well, I don't need 100K, or my idea's not there, and I'm not a fit for this. And we want to spread that around and give people who have a really good idea and are really at the right point that chance to just crush it on their phase 1 and get in that pool for the second phase 2 stuff. So that's how it's going to go. Once the deadline passes, there's an evaluation committee of 5 judges, 3 from Amazon and 2 from UW, who will go through the applications, and they'll pick from the applications a group to come in and do live presentations to the committee. And then from that group, you pick the winners of phase 1. Let's see. Well, in December, funding's done by April, given out. The application, it's 20 questions. Are we still at 20 or 21?
We're at 20.
20. Pretty simple. The trick is go to the site and grab the questions, go off and put it together. There's no save function on the site, so don't spend an hour going through really carefully and then be like, oh crap, there's no save function. Do it offline, bring it to the site. The project lead has to be from UW, meaning a .edu email address here. Anybody else on the team can be outside of UW. So one person has to be the person with the UW email address has to be the project lead. Here's a nice screenshot of the application form. So what makes a good application? At Amazon, we start with the customer first. So one of the worst things you can do is come in with an application that says that has a solution in search of a problem. I know how to do X, and if I do some research, I can find a customer for it. What they're after are, you've identified a customer pain point. And when I say customer, I don't mean an Amazon customer. That's just how we refer to whoever the end user or the end beneficiary of the product is going to be, right? So you identify that pain point, and you've done the research. So Catalyst Awards aren't about funding basic research. They're about, you've kind of finished the research, you've got the idea, I don't have money for the 3D printer or whatever I need to actually get to a prototype or an initial stage of development here. It doesn't have to complete, but there has to be forward progress, and it can't be research. So I told my boss I was coming over here tonight to give this talk, and he said, be sure to tell him it can't be for research. So, and then he made me say it back to him, that it can't be for research. And I said, should I make everybody go, I state your name, the Catalyst Award, it can't be for research. I said I'm not going to do that. So The other part is, so we just did this. Literally, we just did this inside Amazon, where we went from 3,000 ideas that we had internally down to 3 ideas that presented to our S team yesterday. And one of those ideas had to do with retail. And Jeff Wilkie, the CEO of retail, was sitting in the room. Probably the man in the world who has the most perfect knowledge of ongoing retail in the world, right? So the person giving the retail pitch was in no way expected to outdo him in knowledge, but in terms of the thoroughness of thinking through her idea and how it would be implemented, that's what they were looking for. Same thing here. You're not expected to always have all the answers for how things are going to go, but that thoroughness of thought is what's going to be really impressive. There are times when, like tonight, you ask me a question and I don't know the answer. I don't know, I'll get back to you. It's a perfectly acceptable answer. On your application or in the live presentation, probably not the best time for that, right? One of the other things to clear up too, I just want to make sure, don't make an application that relies on access to anything Amazon, right? So we've had some applications come through and said, I have a great idea for how we can do X with drones if I could just get access to the Amazon drones. I don't even know where they are, right? I literally have a friend who works there, and I'm like, hey, can I come see your office? He's like, no, you can't. But if you happen to be in Soto and you look up and there are a bunch of things flying around, you probably know where we are. But we're not funding this to look for the next Amazon line of business, right? So don't think that the product needs to align, or don't make the product application rely on access to anything Amazon.